Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Angelic Alchemy and this is Fighting Back, Exposing CPS Corruption. Today I want to talk about Georgia. Usually I talk about Florida because that's where my experience was, my experience from hell. But there has been an ongoing investigation in Georgia from Atlanta News First, it's ANF, and it is concerning false positives for drug tests. So in Georgia, the child welfare system is called DFACS. It's the Department of Family and Children's Services. And they have been being investigated for quite some time now because people keep getting false positives. They are sober and their drug tests are saying the opposite. In this investigation, there was 3 families that came forward. All 3 of them got their children removed because of these false positives. Georgia's DFACS had an exclusive contract with these 2 companies. They would do all of their drug testing. Of course they did. The companies were Aver and Expert Talks. Now, as of this year, they did not renew that contract. I'm not sure if that is due to this investigation or not. It could possibly be. Now, according to state law and procedure, they cannot use only a false positive or substance abuse as the sole factor deciding whether they are going to remove children or not or keep children out of the home. Now, they do anyways, but in Florida and Georgia and probably the other states in America, there are state statutes that state specifically you cannot use substance abuse as the sole factor unless there is evidence that it is chronic, severe, and it impairs the parent's ability to care for their child. Now, of course, we all know that they don't follow the rules. They don't do anything that they're supposed to. It seems they just do whatever they want. So those statutes seem pretty much like they don't exist for the most part, unless you are taking it to appellate court. Even then, it's a gamble, and there's a lot of factors. They don't actually follow the laws that they're supposed to, but by law, they're not allowed to remove children. Obviously, they still do. Now, like I said, there's 3 families. The first one is on parole. It was a father who was on parole from prison who is mandatory drug tested as a condition of his parole. So his freedom literally depends on his drug test being clean. Now, he passed all of his drug screens for the Department of Corrections, but somehow, magically, the drug screens for DFACS, Department of Family and Children's Services, they're coming up dirty. Weird, right? Weird. Second family. This woman doesn't do drugs. She doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't do anything. But she somehow got tricked into doing a hair follicle test, and it's coming up saying that she's on methamphetamine. And now they're saying that she can't even visit her daughter without 24/7 supervision. Okay? No other evidence of drug use, no nothing, her whole life. Okay? And then there was a third case that came through, it might have even been the first that brought her case to this investigator who works for ANF, Atlanta News First. And same thing. Hers was popping for methamphetamines. Now, they're saying that her medications were popping up the false positive. Now, one of these families, the woman has asthma, which is a chronic condition, obviously, and she used different inhalers and such. And there's one that was sold at CPS, and it's called like methyl something. It's legal amphetamines, basically, in a medicine, but it's popping up as illicit methamphetamine, like the street drug. And they're saying it's because they didn't have or use this special test that they have to use that is able to discern whether it is illicit methamphetamines or if it's medications. So also, DFACS state procedure does not require them to use this test that can tell if it's actually medication or a street drug. You think that would be kind of important, right? To me, my personal opinion, it sounds like it's a cover and they're just saying that, oh, well, yeah, well, it probably popped up a false positive because we didn't have the right test to use. It's really expensive to use it, blah, 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 blah. But really, they're just paid to pop up false positives whenever they can. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have actual evidence of that, but it is what it is. Now, like I said, DFACS did not renew their contract with these 2 companies this year. One of them they already dropped, and then the other one either just expired or it's about to, because there are lawsuits all over the country, not just the state, all over the country, saying that these lab companies that are testing and sending in these results to child welfare are fucking shit up, basically. They're sending it wrong, and then they're blaming other things once again, to me, it looks like they're getting paid for it. So obviously this is amazing that there is even an investigator that was able to do this, that was able to get anything done. I think 2 out of the 3 families got reunited with their children so far. I don't know what's going on with the third one. I know one of them, they had their baby adopted out because they agreed to it once they got this false negative back, and they just lost hope. They were sober and they get a drug test saying that they're on drugs. And a lot of people probably would have, they just gave up, which is completely understandable. I just want to talk about, if you are dealing with something like this, either CPS gets called on you or whatever, they are very good at manipulating you and pressuring you into things if you don't know your rights, and then holding your children and dangling them like a little carrot. It's like, if you don't do what we want, then we're going to take your kids. Like, nope, gotta be quicker than that. You know what I'm saying? So if you have not already been tricked into signing a quote safety plan, you would do best, in my personal opinion. I'm not an attorney. I can't give legal advice. My personal opinion would be not to ever take a drug test for these people. They will come out to your house. They will want to do them at your house sometimes. Like just one of those ones they buy in the store. Okay, like that's accurate. Okay, I had them do that to me in 2013 in Florida. And they said it popped for weed. And then they called my probation officer, because I was on probation at the time, and told my probation officer that I failed the test for weed. And then so my probation officer called me in there. I had to go in there 2 days later, and she tested me, and I was clean. And she's like, well, why did it? I'm like, I don't know. Ask them. Like, why did it pop up dirty for them? You know what I'm saying? So they will try and say things like, well, if you don't, it's going to make you look bad to the judge. Like, okay, well, I'll handle that day if it comes. You know what I'm saying? And if you have already been tricked or coerced into signing a safety plan, or you are court ordered to take drug screens, every time they drug test you, you would do best to go get an independent drug test so that you can show that you're actually negative if they try and come at you with these false positives. Because that's what these families did that were reunited with their children, and it saved them. Like they say in the video, they don't know what they would have done without it. So do not take a drug test from any child welfare willingly. And if you have to, you need some kind of, third-party verification, whatever you want to call it, a verifiable source that can back you up if they try and say that you have a false positive. And you probably should be ready for them to try and claim that you had a false positive. And if you think that you're gonna be like, well, just tell them to retest it, they're gonna be like, no, we don't do that, or some variation of that. So I just wanted to make a quick video in regards to that, and I hope this helps somebody. And I'll be back soon with some more of my case documents, and we'll go over those. Okay, God loves you. I love you. I hope you all have a great day.